Tulsi's dad here, formerly known as Senator Mike Gabbard. Aloha mai kako and e komo mai. I'm sorry I'm not there with you, my fellow hempsters. I'm on the mainland traveling, and first mahalo to the Kauai Community Events for organizing this conference and expo. You'll see I have on my Hemp is Hope t-shirt, so I'm all set here. The theme for my brief talk today will be Sugarcane is out, hemp is in. And as we all know, Hawaii's 150-year era of plantation ag dominated by sugar and pineapple officially ended when HC&S closed down their sugar operations on Maui on December 12, 2016. So we've begun the transition from plantation ag, with diversified ag being our new model. We're making some progress, but we aren't moving fast enough, in my humble opinion, to greatly change the fact that we import 85 to 90% of our food at a cost of $3 billion every year. So here are a few local stats from the most recent 5-year statewide census of ag completed in June 2019 by the USDA. As of 2017, there were 7,328 farms in our state on 1.14 million acres of land. Small farms, those on less than 10 acres, accounted for nearly all the growth, with a 10% gain to 4,868 farms. Organic food sales more than doubled to $15 million. Aquaculture sales expanded by 30% to $74 million. Nursery and greenhouse product sales increased by 25% to $100 million. And the average age of our farmers in Hawaii is 60.1 years old versus 58 on the mainland and 55 in Canada. Now, the age of our farmers is something that we're working on, and hopefully hemp can help. Recently I was at a Future Farmers of America workshop at Waipahu Intermediate, and it was actually the 7th and 8th graders. Some students had brought up hemp and how excited they were about growing hemp in Hawaii. I didn't even have to urge them on. It was all on their own. So sugarcane is definitely out, and hemp, I believe, is beginning to blossom and will soon be flourishing in our islands. However, it's important to note that the right direction to go is not to replicate the plantation monocrop model that used a lot of dangerous pesticides and wasn't good for our soil. Ironically, hemp is a good antidote because, as most of you know, it can be used for phytoremediation to help clean our soils. So from the very beginning, my pitch to my colleagues at the legislature in getting the 4 hemp bills that I introduced, first one was in 2014, passed into law, has been a hemp cottage industry with Hawaii branding. It's all about the branding and marketing. And you know what I'm talking about, the Hawaii label with the hula girl underneath the coconut tree and the guy next to her strumming on his ukulele. So in my mind's eye, I see Maui hemp granola, Kauai hemp toothpaste, Honolulu hemp aloha shirts, and Hawaii Island hemp shampoo. So these are just some of the products that I guarantee will be coming our way. Now recently I've been meeting with different folks and getting the latest update about hemp since our 2019 legislative session ended in May. And at the National Conference of State Legislatures 2019, the legislative summit that we had in Nashville last month, Sonia Jimenez, she's the Deputy Administrator for the USDA's Marketing Service, she gave a presentation about hemp. Here's what she said. The USDA is working on hemp, the hemp program regulation guidance, and is on track to release it in the fall of 2019. The goal is to complete this for the growing season in 2020. The regulations will include testing, sampling, licensing requirements, ensuring compliance, trade, felony convictions, financial services, and seed. The growers will have 2 options. The state sets up a plan and USDA will approve within 60 days of being submitted. If they approve, they of course can reject it. Or the growers can get licenses directly from the USDA. Now, locally, our commercial hemp bill, Senate Bill 1353, was vetoed by the governor in 2019. He said in his veto message, and I quote, "There are concerns that this bill creates a licensing structure that cannot be enforced, will not meet USDA requirements for an approved industrial hemp program, and creates practical problems in the enforcement of existing medical cannabis." Now, in the meantime, our pilot hemp research program under the state DOA will continue until June 30th, 2021. Farmers can grow up to 10 acres of hemp under the pilot. Right now we have 31 licensees who are authorized to grow over 200 acres of hemp. Now personally, I'd like to see our local farmers be able to get their commercial hemp license directly from the USDA. And to do that, we'll need to pass legislation in the 2020 session, which begins in January, that will put us in compliance with the federal guidelines. So stay tuned. I'll need your help in terms of testimony, etc. And by the way, at the federal level, my daughter, Congresswoman and Democratic presidential candidate for the U.S., Tulsi Gabbard, she's a big advocate for hemp, and she was the keynote speaker at the Southern Hemp Expo in Tennessee on September 6th. It was a few months earlier, on July 9th, that Tulsi introduced H.R. 3652, the Hemp for Victory Act. Now, this legislation would provide a much-needed framework for the emerging hemp industry that protects family farmers and small businesses from the threat of potential corporate takeover. It also would focus on researching the benefits of hemp while ensuring safe ag practices. And in terms of the status of the bill, no hearings have been scheduled yet. So in closing, we know the big elephant in the room, creating all the buzz, is how hemp CBD is going to be handled. Our health committee chairs at the legislature, Senator Roz Baker and also Representative John Mizuno, they held a hearing at the Capitol on the medical use of cannabis and hemp-derived CBD on September 12th. So I'm following these discussions very closely. We're hoping for more guidance soon from the FDA on the regulation of CBD so that this important product can be sold in a safe and legal way. So have a great conference, and let's continue working together to make Hawaii hemp a reality. And please let me know if you have any ideas for advancing hemp in Hawaii. And yes, believe me, we all know how the wheels of government turn painfully slow most of the time. I noticed that on December 14th, we'll acknowledge, and notice I didn't say that we would celebrate, but we will acknowledge the 20th anniversary of Hawaii Industrial Hemp Day, which Governor Cayetano issued a proclamation for on that day in 1999. So, hope is good, but in 2020, let's act. Let's do this. Kako, together, aloha. Hemp, hemp, hooray, and imua.